Well, anyways, good morning. Welcome to the Eggs and Toast Show, the episode of Rose Radio. I am awake. I've been awake for a couple hours, so I guess I'm just going to force myself to stay awake. I got a big day today. I missed everything again last night. I knocked out so hard. But it was one of those awful sleeps. Like, I didn't sleep. Sleep, you know. So, I'll be playing music this morning. You might hear noises in the back because I'm trying to get something ready for today. I got a quiz, or kind of like a test, I guess. And I'm like totally not ready at all. I'm not even awake and I have the hiccups. But I went on there to see what shows I missed last night. It doesn't look like there was a lot of people on. So I don't know where everybody's at or what's going on. Alright, I don't know what to do. I hope I can remember it. Well, it's just going to be flashing these all day for the next 6 hours while I paint. Oh, God, I got to do that thing, too. Man, this is stressing me out. People are waking up in the barrio, getting ready for work. See, that's what I was thinking about this, okay, because I've been thinking a lot about politics because, you know, of course, the election is coming up and everything. And I always hear these comments about, get a job, you know, all these poor people. And the area I live in is very poor. But you know what? Everybody works. Everybody has a freaking job. And I'm just like, wow, you know, I hear people say they don't have jobs, they don't have work, all this unemployment, but then everybody here that I know has a job. I don't think I know one person without a job. I think it's the fact that people don't want these jobs, you know, because there is work out there. There are jobs. They're just not paying a lot, but there is work. I mean, if you work 2 jobs, you can, you know, but that's kind of impossible sometimes if you have a family and stuff. I mean, you can do it if you have that type of energy. When I was younger, at one time I had 2 jobs and going to college. And I was able to do it. Like, it was like no problem. I mean, I had some bad days where I was totally exhausted, and I could only keep it up for about 3 months, 4 months at a time. And that was it. You know, and then I had to change one of the jobs, or like quit one and then try to get another one. I remember those days. But now it's like, oh. But anyways, there is work out there. So, where was I going with this? Yeah, so I was noticing that the other day. I was like, everybody's working. What is everybody talking about? There's no freaking jobs. Everything, the economy is this and this. It's like, no, there are jobs. I don't know anybody out of work. Okay. Oh, well, I don't have a 9-to-5 job, but I have my job. And it actually pays the bills, you know. It's not that bad. Especially if you're an artist and you have a craft or you're creative. There is a way to make money. There's kind of like no excuse, especially with the internet. You have eBay, you have Etsy, there's Artfire, and as long as you make the stuff by hand, you can sell on there. Well, eBay, you could sell anything. You could sell everything in your closet. But you could sell stuff that you make. You know, of course, if I had, like, employees and stuff, I'd make a whole lot more. But it's not that bad, and people give me a hard time, you know, family and stuff. You know, that's a real job. But here, I will share this part about my income. You figure an average person makes maybe, about $400 a week. That's like minimum pay kind of job. So that's about $1,200 a month. For California, which is nothing, that is poverty. That's still very poverty. And then you got, if you get a little bit more, if you can make $500 a week, that's a little better, but it's still poverty. It's still awful. But it's work. You got money. Well, if you average it out, I sell my stuff anywhere from the income is $150 to $500 a costume, and I make about 3 to 4 costumes a week. So if you average it out, I make just as much, or actually more than a part-time job or job minimum wage or something like that. So, it's possible. So if you're able to make something and post it on the internet, and even if you just make a couple a week, you can make sufficient money. You just got to find your niche, and it kind of like connect, especially using Twitter. Twitter really helps. Oh my gosh, Twitter, you keep posting things you make, and first you got to follow everybody who's in your field kind of thing, your art genre, and then you get customers that way too. So if you're posting on Etsy, which is really cheap, very, very cheap, and it's popular now, but there was a time when it wasn't so popular, so it was kind of difficult to get people to shop around in there. But a lot of people have moved there compared to eBay, because eBay, you got to think 30% of everything you make is gone. So they take almost half of your income. It's ridiculous. But one time I went through my closet and I started sticking stuff on there. Dumb things like old curling irons, those little knickknacks, dumb things. People bought them. I was like, what? So if you have the time and you don't have work, just make pictures and post them on eBay. Just get rid of them. Get rid of this stuff, but at least you'll start accumulating and getting like a customer clientele, and eventually find your niche. So that's how I see it. There's really no excuse for the whole job thing. The only reason I think it's so difficult, and I think I made a podcast on this before, the reason why it's so difficult is because they took the arts out of the schools, and they took a lot of courses away that seemed meaningless at the time to some people, but it jumpstarts your brain to creativity, and it's the creativity that creates jobs. If it wasn't for the stuff that artists and inventors and designers have done, there wouldn't be any jobs, unless it's like more industrial type of stuff. But even then, you still needed someone to come up with the idea and to design it. So if someone doesn't have that kind of mindset, then yeah, you're sitting there waiting for someone to hand you a job. Uptown and moving on. I'm still trying to hold my ground. I was talking a little bit about jobs being available and creating your own job. And the only reason I brought that up is because I've been thinking a lot about it. Not a whole lot, but it did come to my mind the other day. I was in a drive-thru, and I just so happened to hear a commercial, and they have commercials from both sides on the radio, and one was about, there's no jobs. And I was like looking around, I was like, wow, it looks like everybody here is working. I don't know. These are, I know, they're just not up to speed, or they're just not up to the kind of income that people expect. But I think the reason why is because no one's creating them, And I also thought, yeah, these big companies, I mean, you got to depend on these big companies. Why is no one actually creating jobs from their homes, or using their skills, and instead just sitting there waiting for someone to hand them one? Because it's not like before. Like when my Opa was working, he had a pension. He was there for like forever, and you get all these benefits and stuff. But it's not like that anymore. It's not uncommon for people to have, 10 to 12 jobs on their resume anymore. Especially if they don't go to college, if they're not receiving higher education, then chances are your job will only last for so long. And I don't know, it's kind of what I'm looking at with this election. I still don't know what to do. I'm just really disappointed in the whole thing. I don't like anybody who's running. I'm that too. I don't like the fact that they're choosing who we can have to vote for. I think it should go back to the days where the people just voted. They put in whoever they wanted, not a group of people, not a party. I think this whole party thing has messed everything up, and it's just about power, and it has nothing to do with the people. I know, I sound kind of... I guess that sounds kind of bad. But, okay, as far as working, let me go back to that subject. Yeah, so the complaining I hear about it, I don't think there's any excuse to complain. I think that there's something that you can do. If you put your mind to it, you can think of something. I told this story so many times of how I started that I'll do it again because I'm feeling talkative all of a sudden and nobody's awake. But I just went in my closet. I mean, I couldn't even afford material or anything. I just went in my closet and I found something that didn't fit anymore. I liked the material. I just cut that sucker up. I cut it up and I just made up something and stuck it on eBay. And that was my first big income. I sold it for $89. And I was like, after that I was addicted. I started just grabbing everything. But eventually I ran out of stuff. But after a whole month of that, if you plan it right, then you can get your supplies. And what's cool is if you do register, if you do get a business, a resale license, which is free for the most part, depending on how much you put down that you're going to expect to make. I put down like $100 and I got it for free the first time. Once you have your resale license, you can... There are like these databases that you go to where you can just call up distributors and you pretty much get everything at cost. So if you know you're going to be using a lot of the supplies, you just stock up on your supplies instead of going to a store and buying it. And especially if you're going to do anything in the arts or crafts, where you would go to Michael's or Benjamin Franklin's or Aaron Brothers, and it'd be a lot of money. You just buy from the catalog, you buy directly, and you just get it in bulk. There's a way to do it, and usually a lot of people on the internet that sell, that, are small business, working from home, selling stuff, if you email them and ask them if they'll sell it to you at cost, they usually do. All you have to do is show your resale license number, and even some of them, they don't even care about that. It's like they'll just do it at a tiny profit for themselves, but it helps them get more supplies. So that's always a way to do it too. I know I've had many shows talking about this, and I'm a big advocate of this because I spent a lot of years working for different companies, and pretty much out here in California, the only way to get in is through the temp services, and that's always an option too for some people. Oh, should I just put this up there? Okay. The temp services, you'll get your foot in there, and then you also start gaining experience, and that's the way people are getting hired right now. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's hard getting the first job, but once you get the first job, then they all start calling you for all these other jobs. And that's difficult also. Like, if you haven't worked in a while, after, I think, from what I understand, if you have not worked in 2 years and you try to apply for these jobs, you're unhireable. So if you kind of work for yourself and just create something, then you have something to put down on what you've been doing. You have to have something showing that you have been working. I don't know, it's really difficult. What was I going to... I'm still working on this stuff, I'm sorry. You know, if I could, I should try to do that. I would have actually a website and training site for people to do this. That's what I should do. I don't know what you would call that. I don't know how you would get paid. I know that too. There's a way to make money also. Like, if you have a skill or something you can teach, there's a way that they do it. Like, someone has to pay to come to your online class, and then you guys meet up. I think it's through one of those Yahoos, or you can even do it in Pal Talk, where you have a private room with a code, a locked room, and then you give out a code. So if they pay for it, then they can come into the room, and you can put up your video and do the classroom. And it'll be, it could be anything. It could be not only in the arts, it could be teaching someone to do something with computers or guitar lessons, cars, you know, talking about automotive stuff, landscaping, construction, anything. I mean, there are ways to do this, and what you would do is, like, you would put up a site, like make a web page or a blog, and then you offer these classes, and then you go on Twitter, you just Twitter the heck out of it. You just offering classes and such, and then you make sure you have a PayPal account or some kind of paying account. PayPal sucks, okay? It's like eBay. It's like a love-hate relationship. They suck. But in a way, you need them because they hook up to everything. They hook up to all the shopping carts, everything.